Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and what I got for you today is a review of a neat quadcopter. This is the Hubsan X4 Pro. Now let's go over the X4 Pro. The X4 Pro is what I'd like to call an FPV Explorer quadcopter. It's a quadcopter with long range, long endurance, a good camera. In this case, it comes with a 1080p HD camera and a long-range FPV transmitter system. And there's its transmitter system. Now, this quadcopter is predicted to have both control range and FPV video range of up to 1,000 meters. Now, I can't see 1,000 meters away, so there's no way I'm going to fly that far away today. But what I intend to do is fly out to the edge of my visual range. I'm going to guess it's going to be about 400 meters or so, maybe 500 meters. And we're going to fly a long circular arc around my position out at about 500 meters to explore the desert around me, to demonstrate what this can do, that you can actually fly out at those distances. Now, let's talk about this quadcopter. The battery that's in this thing is 7,000 milliamp hour. It's a huge battery. And they're a huge heavy battery that gives it that flight endurance performance. Additionally, it comes with several things, to tell you the truth, that you can include with this quadcopter. In this case, I have attached the anti-vibration mount and its 1080p camera, and this mount is a motorized fixed gimbal position. It's not stabilized, but you can point the camera up and down with this mount in terms of this gimbal. Additionally, this quadcopter is the first I've seen to come out with something that is pretty neat, but I'm not going to use it. This is a parachute. You can attach a parachute to this quadcopter via brackets that come with this quadcopter, and if the quadcopter runs into problems and starts to drop from the sky and tilts more than 90 degrees, the parachute will automatically sense that and deploy to bring the quadcopter gently down. Now, I am not brave enough to demonstrate that, but Dustin Dunhill has already demonstrated that, and I will include a link to his video right here if you want to see this thing being brought down with a parachute. I don't want to do that because there is a chance when you use that parachute of damaging this quadcopter, and I want to have quite a few more videos of it before I go and even consider using the parachute, which I probably will never consider using. Now, that parachute is a neat idea if you're flying over urban areas or over people, which you shouldn't be doing anyways. But if you do, it'd be nice to have that parachute attached to prevent property damage or harm to people on the ground. The parachute comes with the low-end version. There are 3 versions of this quadcopter. There's the low end, the middle end, and the high end version. The low end version comes with this powered pointing gimbal, plus the parachute, plus another attachment if you want to attach your cell phone to this quadcopter. It has a cell phone mount. Say if you want, I don't know why you want to attach a cell phone mount when it comes with this 1080p camera, but possibly maybe you want to do a simulcast from the aircraft while it's flying. You could possibly do that with the cell phone attachment mount that comes with the quadcopter. Now, the middle end version comes with actually a stabilized 2-axis gimbal, but it does not come with the parachute mount. And the reason for that is the maximum safe takeoff weight of this quadcopter, or in terms of payload, this can lift 350 grams safely. You go above 350 grams, you start to enter into potential for vortex ring state. You'll still be able to lift more than 350 grams. The problem occurs when you try to descend. You might descend into your prop wash and stall out the propellers and come crashing to the ground. That's why the Hubsan does not recommend going over 350 grams and does not include that with the low end or the middle end quadcopter, along with the high end quadcopter, which the high end comes with a 3-axis gimbal system, plus an upgraded transmitter system that includes waypoint flying. But again, the parachute only comes with this low-end version, which is lightweight. Keep in mind that parachute weighs 200 grams. That's a big chunk of weight, and this system here weighs close to 150 grams. So right with a parachute and this camera attached, you're getting close to the weight limits of this quadcopter. Let's go over the transmitter now. This is the transmitter system, FPV transmitter system. It includes an FPV screen. It includes aux controls for tilting the gimbal up and down, or tilting, if you use a 2-axis gimbal system, you can also tilt the gimbal right and left, I believe. It has multiple switches, 4 switches. This switch is for turning on headless mode. This switch is for entering GPS mode, or down for altitude hold mode. This switch here is for return to home when you flip it up. And this switch here is for nothing. It currently does not have a use with the Hubsan X4. That switch there is inoperative. You can also control the camera, whether recording or not, by, I did mention this is for moving the camera up and down, but you can also select photo, select video, select playback, or start recording or take a photo by using these menu buttons down here. If you press this right menu button, it cycles through photo, video, and playback. And if you're entering video and you want to start the video recording, you press the exit button, which will start the video recording, and press it again to stop the video recording. The trim buttons on this transmitter are true trim buttons for trimming throttle, yaw, pitch, and roll. And if you look up here on the top, this transmitter has a 2.4 gigahertz FPV. This is a 2.4 gigahertz transmitting antenna for the controller to control the quadcopter, and this is a flat panel antenna at 5.8 gigahertz for reception. Now the way this works is you want to keep that flat portion pointed toward the quadcopter off in the distance, and that's how you get your 1,000 meter range. If it starts to go off, this is a directional antenna, and its best reception is to keep the flat portion pointed toward the quadcopter at all times. Now looking on the bottom of this receiver, you have audio output and video output if you want to use goggles with this. And it has USB and TF SD card. These are not for you, this is for the factory. This is how they load up and set the software inside this, for this FPV screen software, the menu software that comes with this transmitter. So these are not applicable for the user. So that's it in a nutshell. Let's send up the X4 Pro and demonstrate how far range I can comfortably fly this while keeping it in visual range. Keep in mind that in the United States, FAA restrictions only allow you to fly as far as you can maintain visual range on this quadcopter. This quadcopter is capable of flying further and being controlled further via this FPV screen, but I'm not going to do that because that's against regulations. So, okay, to turn this on, let's see, I'm going to set headless mode direction off in that way along the road today. To turn this on, turn on the transmitter first. Now this quadcopter is with the 501S quadcopter. Both, when you start them up, they both want to have their gyros stabilized right from the get-go, you know. Let that calibrate a second there. But I want to get these wires in there and close this door completely. Door's not going to pop open. It might. Well, there we go. Okay. It says, if you look on this screen here, this FPV screen, it says calibrate compass 1. Okay, to do that, all you got to do is, oh, my old knees, is lift up the quadcopter horizontally, and notice that it has red blinking lights right now. You do 2 clockwise rotations around your position. Do the circle dance, or you can twist it on the ground until you see green lights. Then point the quadcopter downward and do 2 circle turns again until the lights turn steady, red and bluish white in front. And now you can put the quadcopter down, and boy am I dizzy from doing that. Okay, now I want to manually turn on the camera. And the camera is on-off switches right there. Camera's recording. And it's pointed at the ground. I'm going to adjust that camera position. There we go. Point it upward so that I can see slightly upward. Okay. Now before we fly, I am also going to be using, I'm not using goggles today, but I will be using this FPV screen, my diversity receiver here, and I should have it already set to that frequency. And I do. I have reception, and I'm going to start my little run cam camera also, so we can view FPV here. Because that tiny little screen that comes with that is a very tiny little screen. And I'd prefer to use this screen if possible, because it looks better out in the desert. Starting recording of the run cam, of the screen run cam that is. Placing the screen on, sunshade, so we should be recording there, and we have view, FPV view. Okay, we're good there. Let me make sure my hat camera is recording. It is. And center it on my head. And I'm going to do a countdown right now. 3, well actually let's start the video too. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we are ready to go. I have my FPV system hooked up here, both my large diversity 2-channel receiver system here and the quadcopter, and I am going to turn on its recorder. I am already on FPV or video recording screen, so I'm just going to press that once, and I notice up in the upper left corner a red light up, or the red ball recording light up, means it's recording. And we should be in GPS mode. Well, I gotta flip this up to be in GPS mode. So we should be in GPS mode right now. Down and out. Down and out starts and both stops the motors. So we're gonna go into idle again, down and out. And we're going to take it up by increasing throttle. Now I got a wind blowing from that direction. Let's take it up a little bit higher. Okay, we did our circle dance, so this should be pretty much steady. I want to raise that camera up a little bit more, right about there. That gives me a better view. Okay, it seems to be very steady. Now what I am going to do is also enter into headless mode. And why do I want to do headless mode? I'll show you here in a second. Pressing that switch up, and we should be in headless mode. And headless mode direction is that direction there. And I'm going to turn the quadcopter. Okay, we are in headless mode, and the reason is I like to do selfies of myself. Let's go up a little bit higher too. And I'm looking at this screen here. Right about there, I can see myself. So let's go on a long-range flight with this quadcopter on a slightly breezy morning. I'm going to come out of headless mode in a bit. I'm just doing this to depart. Good luck! Okay, coming out of headless mode. Going up a little higher too, because of that wind. Going up a little bit higher. Turning the quadcopter around. And checking its position hold. And now I'm going over to my FPV screen. And we are going to fly FPV via my bigger screen here instead of this little screen. Okay, I'm going to go down the road here till we come to a crossroads. And at that point I'm going to halt it and make sure I can still see the quadcopter. And I can notice on my screen here that I can see that I am recording. I don't have the telemetry information that I receive on my Hubsan screen, but I do have some information about the camera, flight time, and battery of the FPV screen. And I'm looking up to make sure I can still see it. I can still see it off in the distance, going up a little bit higher again. Getting closer to the crossroads. Checking that I can still see it. I can still see it. And my diversity receiver is starting to get a little bit scratchy. I don't know if you can see that, folks. It's a dual channel receiver, and it automatically selects, okay, I'm making a right at the crossroads. It automatically selects whichever frequency is best, or whichever reception is best, and uses that. Okay, I'm going on the crossroads. Let me make sure I can see it off in the distance. Yes, I can. It's showing up as a nice big black dot in the sky. Holding position for a second, going a little further. Actually, let's put it in the hover right there. And I'm going to check my parameters. Double check I see it. And we are 310 meters away. Altitude of 12 meters. I'm going to go up a little bit higher. Boy, it climbs fast. Okay, and the voltage on my battery is 11.2 volts. So we're still good there. Good to go there. Okay, going forward again. I still see it. Still see it. 330 meters. Okay, I'm flying by my FPV receiver. Main reason being we are getting way out there. I can still see it though. 360 meters. 370. 380. 390. And 400 meters. Coming to hover right there. Turning the quadcopter to the right. Keeping it out about 400 meters. Trying to fly somewhat horizontal to my position here. Turning to the right. We should be coming back actually. 380, 375. Right. I'm going to hover it right there and go to my other receiver. Do I still have reception range on this FPV receiver? Oh yes, I do. I see. Am I? This diversity receiver is working nice with this. How many volts? 10.1 volts. Better come home. I'm coming home, folks, because I don't know if that voltage is right or not. It's saying 11.1 volts, 9.9 volts, and I don't know which is which. I'm assuming the quadcopter is the bottom one. I'm hoping that's right. And the 9.9 volts is the transmitter. This thing automatically starts to descend and land once you get to 10.8 volts. We were out there 400 meters. Well, it says 11.1 volts. The top one must be my transmitter. You see two voltages here. There's no way that would keep flying at 9 volts. Okay, I'm coming over my position here. I see me down there. Hello. So yeah, this thing can fly very far range. Okay, now I want to descend. A bit. Look at the lights of that thing. Very bright. Okay, I got 11 volts. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go in altitude hold mode and see how this thing performs. I'm in altitude hold, push it down. Whoa. It's a speed demon in altitude hold. Look at that thing zip. Wow, okay. That's enough of altitude hold. We're going to get in closer. and letting it coast. Man, oh man. That's comparable to the CX-22. Speed Demon. Okay, what's my voltage? 10.8 volts. This thing is supposed to start 10.9 volts now. Okay, we demonstrated headless mode. We demonstrated, we haven't done return to home. Return to home, coming on. Let's see it land itself. And will it land itself where it took off. Right there. Seems to be doing it. Doing a good job. Hands off landing. Let's see if it lands without tilting. And it does its return to home. Okay, landing voltage is 11.3 volts. So I still got a little more power, but I'm going to keep it short for today. This is the first flight of the Hubsan X4 Pro. We demonstrated its range. It does have good range. I flew it out to 400 meters. It was starting to get real hard to see. That's why I stopped, folks, out of a little over 400 meters. And I brought it back. We demonstrated headless mode. We demonstrated altitude hold. This thing is a Speed Demon. Let's get it. I'll show you. I'll hold it up now. This thing is a Speed Demon in altitude hold. Someday people are going to race these. Okay, that was pretty amazing how fast that thing would move. We demonstrated its return to home, and it did a good job of a return to home. And we demonstrated, okay, make sure that I got my video recording before I shut everything down. We demonstrated its camera. Okay, that should be it. Its recording is complete. So, overall, this is a nice quadcopter. It is somewhat priced higher than other similar quadcopters. You know, if you compare this to the X380, keep in mind you're getting a complete FPV system with this, a long-range FPV system with this that works with other goggles or other FPV systems. Again, 1080p camera, you're getting FPV transmitter system. Also, this is expandable. If you want to include your own, I didn't show you this in the beginning, but if you want to include your own gimbal, you can do such. And it does have the control pins for up to 4 different devices. Right now, only one of them is being used for this particular gimbal system that's on this quadcopter. But you can put 4 additional systems onto this. I don't know how you would control them, as there are only 2 control pins on this particular transmitter. But I guess there are other transmitters. Maybe the professional transmitter, the high-end transmitter, might have means of controlling these other 2 pins. So that's it. This is, again, the Hubsan X4 Pro. Hope you enjoyed this flight. It's Quadcopter 101, signing out.